Before you click away, take a deep breath and open your mind because what you're about to hear isn't just about a nation's rise. It's about the unstoppable spirit that lives in all of us when we decide to break limits and rewrite our story. This is a journey into how one country's growth is shaking old powers awake and showing the world that true strength comes from within. Stay with me till the end, because by the time we're done, you'll see why this warning matters and why it carries a lesson for every one of us. India's rise as an economic powerhouse is one of the defining stories of this century. Once viewed mainly as a developing nation burdened with poverty and bureaucracy, India is now rewriting its own narrative with numbers that the world can't ignore. With a GDP growth rate that consistently outpaces most major economies, India is on track to become the world's third largest economy in the coming decades, right behind the United States and China. This isn't just about statistics on a graph, it's about a nation transforming itself from the inside out. Fueling this growth is a booming services sector, a rapidly expanding manufacturing base, and a digital economy that has leapfrogged old limitations. India's tech industry alone generates billions in exports, while its homegrown startups attract global investors hungry to be part of the next big wave. From mobile payments to artificial intelligence, India's innovators are solving local problems in ways that often outpace more developed countries. Infrastructure is another cornerstone of this growth story. Roads, airports, ports, and high-speed rail networks are being built and modernized at a historic pace. Major reforms and a push for ease of doing business have made India more attractive to foreign companies that once hesitated to enter its markets. But this growth isn't limited to cities like Mumbai and Bangalore alone. Smaller towns and rural regions are being pulled into the economic fold through better connectivity, digital banking, and government initiatives that aim to empower millions who were once left behind. All of this creates a powerful momentum that challenges old assumptions about who controls global trade and wealth. India's expanding economy means more jobs, stronger exports, bigger markets, and a growing influence that demands respect on the world stage. One of India's greatest strengths is its enormous and youthful population. While many powerful nations face an aging crisis, with shrinking workforces and rising retiree costs, India stands apart with a demographic dividend that most countries can only envy. Over 65% of India's population is under the age of 35, creating a vast pool of energy, ambition, and untapped talent ready to drive the nation forward for decades to come. This young population is not just large in number, but increasingly skilled and connected. Millions of students graduate every year with degrees in engineering, medicine, science, and business, adding fresh minds to India's growing workforce. They're fluent in technology, comfortable with global trends, and eager to prove themselves not just at home, but on the world stage. India's youth are also fueling a cultural shift. They're pushing boundaries, launching startups, learning new skills online, and building careers that would have been unimaginable for their parents' generation. From small towns to big cities, young Indians are not waiting for jobs to come to them. They're creating opportunities where none existed before. This demographic advantage translates into a huge consumer market as well. A young population means rising demand for better education, healthcare, housing, travel, and lifestyle choices. Global companies know this and see India's youth as a key market for growth in the years ahead. Of course, this opportunity comes with challenges. Jobs, skills, and resources must keep pace with this surge of young potential. But if harnessed well, India's youth could be the engine that transforms the nation into an economic and innovation leader. In a world where aging populations slow growth, India's young millions are a force that could tilt the global balance in ways no one can ignore. India has rapidly emerged as one of the world's most dynamic hubs for technology and innovation, reshaping how it is seen by global investors, entrepreneurs, and governments alike. Once known mainly for outsourcing and call centers, India now leads in areas like software development, artificial intelligence, fintech, and deep tech startups. Cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and Pune have become buzzing centers of innovation, often compared to Silicon Valley for the sheer energy and scale of their tech ecosystems. One major reason for this boom is India's vast pool of highly skilled engineers, programmers, and tech entrepreneurs. Every year, millions graduate from universities with degrees in technology and science, feeding a workforce that is young, ambitious, and ready to tackle complex problems with fresh ideas. Many of the world's biggest tech companies, Google, Microsoft, and Adobe, to name just a few, are now led by Indian-origin CEO, showing how Indian talent shapes innovation on a global level. Back home, India's startup scene is thriving. New companies are using technology to solve deeply local challenges, from digital payments that reach remote villages to AI tools that help farmers monitor crops. The country has produced dozens of unicorn startups valued at over $1 billion and continues to attract billions in venture capital funding every year. What makes India's tech growth unique is its scale and reach. Affordable data plans and widespread smartphone use have brought the internet to hundreds of millions who were previously unconnected. This massive digital shift has opened up new markets, driven e-commerce, and created opportunities for digital education, health tech, and online banking. As technology shapes the future of economies worldwide, India's role as a major innovation hub puts it in a powerful position, one that challenges old economic powers and promises to push new ideas onto the global stage. India's growing geopolitical influence is one of the biggest reasons global leaders watch its rise so closely. Strategically positioned between East and West, bordered by China, and sitting along critical sea routes, India's location alone makes it an indispensable player in shaping the balance of power in Asia and beyond. But geography is only part of the story. India's influence is expanding because of its economic strength, democratic system, and ability to build diverse partnerships across the world. India plays a vital role in key international alliances. It's a leading voice in the BRICS group with Brazil, Russia, China, and South Africa, giving it a platform among emerging economies. Its membership in the Quad alongside the United States, Japan, and Australia shows its importance in maintaining security and stability in the Indo-Pacific, especially as tensions rise in the region. Unlike some nations that align strictly with one bloc, India practices strategic autonomy. It maintains strong relations with the West while also engaging with Russia, the Middle East, and Africa, balancing its interests without being pulled completely into one camp. This diplomatic flexibility allows India to protect its own national interests while acting as a bridge between competing powers. Defense modernization also supports India's geopolitical weight. By strengthening its Navy, Army, and Air Force and investing in new technologies, India ensures it can secure its borders and protect its maritime interests in the Indian Ocean, a vital route for global trade. India's geopolitical influence also comes from soft power. It projects cultural diplomacy through yoga, cinema, and spiritual traditions, building goodwill that traditional military power alone cannot buy. As global power dynamics shift, India's ability to steer regional and global conversations makes it a nation no leader can afford to ignore, reshaping the balance in ways that worry some and inspire many. India's military modernization is a crucial pillar of its rising power and a key reason why its growth commands global attention. For decades, India has faced complex security challenges, from disputed borders to regional rivalries and terrorism threats. To protect its interests in this dynamic environment, India has steadily transformed its armed forces into a modern, high-tech defense force capable of responding to old and new challenges alike. Today, India stands among the world's top defense spenders, investing billions to upgrade its capabilities on land, sea, air, and now even in space and cyberspace. The Indian Army, one of the world's largest, is being equipped with modern tanks, precision weapons, and improved infrastructure along critical border areas. The Indian Air Force has inducted advanced fighter jets, missile systems, and surveillance technology to secure its skies and project power beyond its borders. One of India's greatest priorities is its navy, which guards the vital shipping lanes of the Indian Ocean. This region carries a huge share of global trade, making India's naval strength not just a regional concern, but a global one. India has expanded its fleet with modern submarines, aircraft carriers, and maritime patrol systems to ensure its waters remain secure and open. Beyond hardware, India is also investing in domestic defense production. The push for self-reliance through initiatives like Make in India aims to build indigenous weapons, drones, missiles, and technologies. This reduces dependence on foreign suppliers and strengthens India's position as both a buyer and an emerging defense exporter. India's growing defense ties with friendly nations, joint exercises, technology sharing, and strategic pacts further boost its capabilities and influence. This modernization sends a clear signal: India is ready to secure its interests and play a bigger role in maintaining stability in a region where power dynamics are rapidly changing. India's push for self-reliance, often captured under the slogan Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, has become one of its boldest and most defining ambitions in recent years. This vision goes beyond simply producing goods at home. It represents a mindset shift toward economic independence, innovation, and resilience in a world where global supply chains are often unpredictable and geopolitics can disrupt trade overnight. The idea gained fresh urgency during the pandemic when countries realized how risky it is to rely too heavily on imports for essentials like medicine, electronics, and defense equipment. For India, self-reliance means building robust domestic industries that can meet its vast population's needs while also competing confidently in international markets. Key sectors are at the heart of this movement. Manufacturing is getting a major boost through initiatives like Make in India, which aims to attract investment, streamline regulations, and encourage companies to build factories and produce within the country. From smartphones and automobiles to semiconductors and solar panels, India wants to reduce its dependence on foreign suppliers and become a trusted manufacturing hub for the world. In defense, the goal is to design and build sophisticated weapons systems, aircraft, and equipment domestically, cutting down massive import bills and ensuring strategic security. In technology, there's a growing push for homegrown innovation in software, digital payments, and artificial intelligence. Indian startups are stepping up with solutions tailored to local challenges, and in many cases, these solutions are being exported globally. Farmers, too, are part of this vision. Modernizing agriculture, supporting rural industries, and empowering small businesses all feed into the larger goal of a self-sufficient nation where economic growth lifts every section of society. Through self-reliance, India signals to the world that its rise won't depend on borrowing strength from outside, but on unlocking its own immense potential and talent within its borders. India's status as the world's largest democracy is one of its greatest strengths and a key reason its rise carries so much weight on the global stage. In a time when many countries grapple with authoritarian trends, shrinking press freedoms, and weakened institutions, India's democratic system stands as a powerful symbol of peoples will shaping the destiny of a nation with over 1.4 billion voices. At the heart of this democracy is a vibrant, competitive political landscape where power shifts peacefully through elections involving hundreds of millions of voters, an undertaking unmatched anywhere else in scale and complexity. From remote villages to bustling megacities, people line up to cast their vote, often braving heat, rain, or long journeys just to make their voices heard. This active participation keeps leaders accountable and reminds the world that the power ultimately lies with the people. India's democracy is more than elections. It's about the freedom to speak, question, and challenge authority. A robust press, an outspoken civil society, and an independent judiciary have long been pillars that safeguard rights and expose wrongdoing. Diverse regional parties, states with strong identities, and spirited public debates mean that decision-making rarely rests in a single pair of hands. It must reflect countless communities, faiths, and opinions. This democratic framework also supports stability in a country as diverse as India. where dozens of languages, faiths, and cultures coexist. While challenges do arise, social tensions, political rivalries, and the pressures of rapid change, India's democracy has shown remarkable resilience over the decades, adapting to modern times without abandoning its core values. For the world, India's democracy is a reminder that growth and freedom can coexist. Its example offers hope that even in a complex, noisy, sometimes chaotic system, the collective voice of the people can still guide a nation's rise. India's cultural soft power is one of its most subtle yet influential forces, quietly shaping how the world sees this ancient yet modern nation. Unlike military might or economic clout, soft power works through ideas, traditions, and stories that cross borders effortlessly, and India has mastered this art for centuries. Yoga is perhaps the clearest example. Once practiced quietly in forests and ashrams, yoga is now a global wellness phenomenon, embraced by millions from Los Angeles to London. It's more than just physical exercise, it carries India's timeless message of balance, discipline, and the union of body, mind, and spirit. Every International Yoga Day sees cities across the globe celebrating a tradition that began on the banks of the Ganges thousands of years ago. Indian cinema, especially Bollywood, is another powerful tool of cultural connection. Colorful, emotional, and vibrant, these films bring Indian stories, music, and dance to audiences far beyond its borders, creating a sense of curiosity and affection for Indian culture. Popular actors, catchy songs, and grand storytelling have turned Bollywood into an ambassador of India's spirit and energy. Spiritual traditions also draw millions to India each year. Pilgrims, seekers, and tourists visit its temples, sacred rivers, and yoga retreats, searching for answers modern life often fails to provide. Concepts like nonviolence, ahimsa, karma, and inner peace inspire global conversations about how to live with greater meaning and harmony. Even Indian cuisine plays its part. From spicy curries to chai tea, Indian food has found loyal fans worldwide, carrying with it stories of family, hospitality, and rich heritage. Through its soft power, India shares its soul with the world. It doesn't impose, it invites, attracts, and gently reminds people everywhere that true influence isn't forced. It flows naturally when culture, wisdom, and warmth come together. India's strategic push to build strong global alliances is a crucial part of its rise on the world stage. Unlike in the past, when India mostly kept a non-aligned stance, today's India is more active, visible, and decisive in forging partnerships that protect its interests and expand its influence far beyond its borders. One of the clearest signs of this shift is India's participation in powerful multilateral groups. It is a key member of the Quad, an alliance with the United States, Japan, and Australia focused on ensuring a free and open Indo-Pacific. This group regularly holds military exercises, shares intelligence, and works together to keep crucial sea lanes secure at a time of rising tensions in Asia. At the same time, India maintains strong ties with the BRICS nations Brazil, Russia, China, and South Africa, to amplify the voice of emerging economies in global trade and finance. This balance of East and West partnerships shows India's diplomatic flexibility. It does not put all its eggs in one basket, but builds bridges across regions, ensuring it cannot be easily isolated or pressured by any single bloc. India's outreach goes far beyond these groups. It has strengthened defense and economic ties with Europe, invested heavily in partnerships with the Gulf states for energy security, and built new links with African nations for trade, infrastructure, and development. India's large diaspora, spread across every continent, also plays a key role, serving as an informal bridge that connects India with opportunities and goodwill abroad. These growing alliances help India secure vital resources, expand trade, and gain a stronger voice in global institutions like the UN and WTO. Together, they show that India is not just rising alone, it's building a network of friends and partners who will shape the future with it, not just watch from the sidelines. India's dramatic rise is more than just an economic or technological story. It's a wake-up call for those who believed that the balance of power would never shift. For decades, the world's dominant players looked at India as a sleeping giant, rich in culture and history, but weighed down by poverty, red tape, and internal challenges. That old image no longer holds. Today, India's growth reminds other nations that change can come from where it's least expected, and that no power can stay comfortable forever if it ignores new realities. What makes this rise so significant is that it touches every sphere: economic expansion, a booming tech industry, modern military capabilities, strong diplomatic ties, and a massive young workforce hungry to prove itself. Add to that India's ancient cultural wisdom and growing soft power, and you have a nation whose influence reaches far beyond its borders without ever firing a shot or issuing threats. This shift can make some world leaders uneasy, especially those whose countries once dominated global trade and ideas without serious competition from the global south. India's boldness to chart its own course, stand firm on its interests, and form new alliances challenges the old guard's monopoly on power and decision-making. For decades, warnings about India's potential were often brushed aside, seen as distant possibilities rather than real shifts. But today, from boardrooms in Silicon Valley to political offices in Washington and Beijing, decision makers know they cannot plan for the future without India in the equation. This reality is a reminder that power must adapt or be left behind. India's growth is not just a headline, it's a signal that the world's center of gravity is slowly but surely shifting, and those who fail to recognize it risk being caught unprepared in a new age of global influence. India's remarkable rise is more than numbers and headlines. It's a living reminder that when a nation believes in its people, its culture, and its place in the world, nothing can hold it back. From young minds shaping tomorrow's technology to ancient wisdom inspiring global respect, India is proving that growth with spirit is unstoppable. May this message remind us all to never underestimate quiet strength turning into bold power. Thank you for listening with an open mind and heart. Keep watching, keep learning, and good luck as you face your own challenges with courage and vision.